Welcome everyone to the second ever edition of Talk Tactically to Me United podcast. And yes, we are continuing with the play of the Poison song. I know it's very corny, but it's the best we could come up with. So pretty much the podcast, if you're this is your second time joining and welcome back, click that like, subscribe, give us a comment. I know some of us on YouTube were trying to comment, but we're working through all the kinks as well. If you're new to this stuff, welcome. Pretty much the Talk Tactically is to me United podcast is all about talking about the tactics from the previous United match. On my other side of the screen is Ali. My name is Andy. We're both from Queens. So we are just here to give you our tactical analysis of the match. What can we suspect? And the misery that is Manchester United. Let's be real. This is the Fulham recap, Fulham review. It's ended in a 1-1 draw. We should have come out 3-1. We should have won that game. Do you agree, Ali? Let's hear you from you.
Yeah, hi everybody. Man, it's been just a lot of like reflecting on just the two different halves and the two different starts. That first 15 minutes was great, right? Cunha could have scored a hat trick.
Essentially,
Yeah,
Mason Mount, money, Michael again. Michael, if you're listening to this is your Monday reminder that Mason Mount plays for Manchester United because Mason Mount is money.
yeah, I think my opinion on Mount is he's probably the player that knows this system the best, and you can tell. On Cunha, what I said last week was just pick a corner, try and, find some placement. And he tried, did better this week. I don't know if he's listening. Um, he obviously, hit the woodwork and then great touch from Bayindir on the second one. And I think the first minute of the game, again, another good shot. But yeah, just unlucky, just a bit of rustiness.
I think it's also because the United nerves. The shirt is a little bit heavy on him. Sorry, on him than compared to being on Wolves. That's a
Yeah,
it's a head up, and I also think everyone's trying to vibe because Mason Mount made that one touch pass to him on the fly. Maybe it's not the right setup, meaning that it wasn't in the right place that he would like it. Maybe it was. I think the ball was a little bit running off of Cunha that he had to come and adjust and then made that shot. Maybe if it was a little bit better weighted pass, probably a goal. Or if the woodwork was probably like 6 inches wider, probably
right,
getting
right.
it. But I think that yeah, from what you said with Mount, yes, I think that he's plays that left or right 10 role perfectly of receiving the ball, hitting it out in tight spaces, and getting it out. I think, yes, a lot of the chatter on Twitter is that if Cunha made those two shots, Bruno made the penalty, this is like a 3-4-1 game. The world will not be ending at this point. But it didn't happen. This is football. This is the game of small margins, and these are small margins that are coming to bite us in the ass. Another game where the expected goals exceeded, like I think it was like two or something. And anyways, again, if we can go down on this sabermetrics of stats and collecting, Manchester United would be top of the league, but we're not because these are fine margins by it. But let's hear what you have to say, more have to say. Sorry, keep jumping in, Ali, but go ahead.
No, no, it's yeah, no, I think we share the same opinion on Mount. I think yeah, the first 15 minutes was great. Fulham just did look a little bit lost. And I think the adjustments they made were great. Um
They talk a
and
lot of shit though. They think that they talked a lot of shit about like, oh yeah, we know how it's so easy to overload them in the zone,
yeah, I
overload them in the back line behind the two midfielders to get him in. But
which
then the
they
only
did.
but only for the goal. I mean, it does.
No,
Sorry,
I
sorry.
saw it. I saw it in the second half. And I think Lukic's role. I think he played a great game in
He
terms of
did.
pressing. They just had Sander Berg just sitting there, right? And he's not a mobile player, and he can do that job. And you're just thinking, you're
Mind
reflecting
you,
on your own like players, and you're like, well, why can't they do the same?
we did look at Berg for
Yeah,
uh Ten Hag, I think last season when we were looking for a midfielder to just pop
yeah,
in before
him,
he, yeah.
Palhinha, you know, I still think we need more of a ball playing mobile player. Um, but I think it was Iwobi and Marco Silva. They were the two guys that came out and was like, yeah, we totally know how to like dominate their system. Um, and they set up a square around Bruno and Mount, and then Bruno and Ugarte. Like, so I understood what they were doing. Iwobi is a really intelligent player in finding the lines. He's really, he's their playmaker at that point. But I thought, it's rustiness. There's the chemistry's not there quite yet, and it's just desperation. I think from Cunha, especially Cunha just wants a goal so bad. Um,
He wants that weight off his shoulder because he knows that the goals will come.
yeah, yeah, you can tell that he's gonna score goals. There's just more quality there, but I think the weight from last season is kind of just like impacting these new players, which is not what you want. You want these new players to just
Hit
start
the ground.
fresh
Yeah,
and
because it's
like not get in their heads. Bruno's kind of weight has kind of festered across the team. Um, Even Mount, his injuries and all this, and Luke Shaw wasn't, exactly.
we can get to Luke Shaw later because he's gonna get an earful from me. I said no player agendas, but this it's not really an agenda out for Luke Shaw. But I think we've seen enough of Luke Shaw that we know what to expect, and he does not have a place on this team. I'm sorry.
Right,
He,
yeah. And we're particularly solid on that side anyway.
right.
I want Aiden Heaven to get his minutes. I would rather Heaven make mistakes and be the future defender of Man United than Luke Shaw. I still think Luke Shaw is a good player. Just
It
doesn't
doesn't
really.
fit in the system because I can't see him in the Dorgu role up
No,
high.
no, no, he can't play there. He hasn't got the
No,
leg. Um, yeah, but just I just think they also look deflated. They look deflated.
well, I think it's also because of the change in the system. Last week, when Arsenal had the ball, we went to the 4-4-2, box per se, pressing. This time around, we just did 5-2-3 at time most of the times. Didn't really have that box or the 4-4-2 pressing. And I feel like this is something that Ruben needs to hone into. He has to pick one style. He cannot, I understand the flexibility of the system to be fluid to your opponent, but he has to pick one. It cannot be like 4-4-2 for the top six and then, give them a go for it. Because when we do play the other teams like a City, Tottenham, even Chelsea, I think we could do well. Like we can probably nick like one or two goals in off of them in that 4-4-2 mid block. Don't let them play to their style. Just get into their face disruptive. Fine. We could do that. But we can't do this 5-2-3 thinking that it's a lower level team that we can't we are tactically or talently better than the opposition that we can go away from our philosophy, our system, because then it shows in the play. Because I think the ball percentage was 50-50. We never really had the ball. We never imposed our style like how we did last week against Arsenal, where we were doing it. Maybe it is because uh, Mikel chose to do the low block and let us have the advantage because we were home. He tends to be flexible like that, no wonder he doesn't win the league. But but that being said, I feel like Ruben needs to stick with the plan. We saw 4-4-2 throughout all preseason. Where's that now in this game? Like we can't just revert back to the old ways because this had last season vibes. I actually felt good coming into the season because like looking into preseason, the teams that we would usually lose to or draw, I thought we'd be able to beat them in the 4-4-2, how he was overloading in the box, the zigzag one touch passes, etc., creating space for the free man to either dash through the middle or go down on the lines with the wingers or the attacking mids going out wide. I felt like we had enough quality to do it, but always just creep back in for yesterday's match.
Yeah, I don't think Ruben's ever gonna have a fluid system. Sorry, a just one system. I think it's gonna depend on personnel, the situation, on how the opponents press, right? I think it's a system that's just continuously gonna change. Um, it's the personnel is what I'm worried about, and I think on social media right now, it's just like, what side are you on? Are you on Ruben and he needs to play the players to their strengths, or you give Ruben time and give him the right players and use his system? It's you know one
What's
or
your
the other.
opinion about it? Because I have a view on it, but I want to hear what your thoughts are.
My opinion is he needs the players to play the system. And I love Kobe Manu. I think he's a great talent. I think he's a great player. The trouble is he has Mount in front of him because he can't, they're saying he can't play that, position. And he is still really young. I would love to see him in that position. I just don't think he has the best attributes right now for it. I think you give Ruben a box-to-box playing midfield player. Um,
A
you know,
hard-nosed number six.
yeah, and then a traditional right wing back. Um,
Do we really need another right wing
I
back?
don't. Dallo is
Della
really
made the
frustrating.
mistake, but I do think that we're going to run Patrick into the ground. I feel like there's no
Well, I want to see what the other kid's like. I think the other kid is, Diego Leon.
Diego.
Like, he seems like an absolute unit. Um, I think,
But
did we
will he get
see
his
him?
chance? Will he get his chance? That's the thing.
And then we got Harry Amas, who I think is,
But he's on
he,
loan this
yeah, he's on
season,
loan. But
so and
I don't
injury
I don't
prone.
I don't think we need another left. Right now.
Hmm.
But yeah, right now it's that midfield that I'm really concerned about. Like, everybody's saying, but I'm of the opinion I can't see Ruben playing a 4-3-3. I don't see it. You got rid of all your wingers. You got
Shout out to the bomb squad.
Yeah, the bomb squad. You got Kobe Manu, who will benefit. You'd have to play Castle, Garte, and then Fernandez. And Bruno's just gonna do what he's gonna go into number 10. He's not gonna play as a box to box. He's gonna go in that number 10 and demand that position if he plays 4-3-3, like he did under Ten Hag. Um, I don't like this. I don't like the fact that we rely on Bruno Fernandez. It's like, take him out of the team and then build a team, build a team and not someone's individual brilliance. I still think he has a role in this team. Again, it's just not to his strength. So what's your opinion?
100%. I agree. I feel like we're I feel like we never committed to a rebuild properly that we need to commit to a rebuild. Like we all want to win. I would be the last person. I do want us to win. Don't get me wrong. I want us to win like tomorrow. I'm tired of all these NYCFC fans that I've met throughout the years, who are also Man City fans and, being trolled by them how many years. Like, I would love to win the league again, just like I say, I have one over you, right? Like, and you guys said I would never win the league again. Well, there, look, I win one, right? Go suck it,
Right. All
right?
right.
So
I mean, ugh.
I feel like we need to commit to the rebuild. We need to get the personnel. There's too much deadwood on this team to be asking for a lot. Like Luke Shaw is one. Delote is another one. I feel like he cannot be deprogrammed from Ten Hag's inverting him into the midfield. Like I feel like he's making too many silly mistakes on the side, you know, and not even and going forward, he can't square the ball. It's like, we made fun of Wan-Bissaka not doing that and he could do it. And then Wan-Bissaka goes to Palace and starts squaring the ball into the box. Like where has this been? And so it's like we have too much deadwood on this team that we cannot progress forward. And we see with the bigger teams, like everyone had to get their player to fit the system, right? And I know that United's recruitment right now is not really fitting players into the system, that they want talented enough players that no matter who's the coach, they can fit in. And we start seeing that with Euro can do that, Delit can do it, Mizrawi can do it. Um, Cunha, Mimbueno, Ryan, they can do it. They can adapt to whatever system. We already had players who never got the chance that can adapt into different systems, such as Ahmad. And, I think to a degree, Harry Maguire. I think that the back three suits him more than the
Yeah.
playing in a two. Don't get me wrong. But I feel like we have the tactical players. I feel like if we're going to give Ineos any credit, I do like the recruitment where they're coming from now. To be tactically flex, players coming in that are gifted enough to be tactically flexible, right? Euro can do it. Like I said, great. Now we just need that to be in the key spots. And this is why I am actually hoping that Bruno does take the offer to go to Saudi Arabia at this point. Because he's the logjam. It's just like my daughter has like the toy where you have the squares, the shapes, and you have to put the blocks in. Like this is it. Bruno is the square, and then we're trying to put him in the circle, and it's not going to work because he's a number 10. He needs to be closer to the play, but then you invested money into two number 10s, and then you have a 10 in Mount. And we're not playing in Europe. Pretty much I feel like Ineos has already bought his replacement. Two overs, and we have Mount left over. So we have three replacements for Bruno,
If
and we lack in the
you
midfield.
if you were to offer me Bruno getting sold and Baleba in, I would take that. I would personally take that. Um, and then I
Uh,
would play Kobe where Bruno plays and play Baleba next. And that's your future midfield. Let them like I wouldn't even mind finishing like eighth, ninth as because what Arsenal did was, and I think Chelsea did to a degree, was I think when Chelsea had the transfer ban and Lampard was managing them, he played the kids.
yeah,
And I think they got top four. And then when Arsenal weren't doing so well, they started playing Saka. I forgot, like they kind of Martinelli, like
right.
they started playing these kids. And then Arsenal built from the back, and now you can throw in whatever kids you like. Um, and I just think that would be great. Yeah, I don't think it's gonna happen. Um, I would still keep. I don't think Bruno's gonna leave. I don't think he's gonna leave. I still think he is our best ball playing midfielder,
I
and
agree.
that
When,
says
when when we have to chase a game, yes. When we're down a goal, yes, to a degree. But I feel like
no. I think in any circumstance, I think he just doesn't have defensive. None of our midfielders, apart from Ugarte and Casemiro, who aren't mobile, don't have defensive IQ, like a high defensive IQ. They
you
just
know
don't.
what's funny, and we can talk when we bring up the tactical board, is that we gave up the goal when Mason Mount left the pitch.
Listen, Mason Mount is not
Me,
playing as that. I don't like him
he
there.
did. He played it for like
I
10
know, I
minutes,
know, I know he played there for
15
10 minutes.
minutes.
But there's a reason why Ugarte came on. It's because defensively, we were
Yes,
there was
because
this clip where they were Bruno and Mason Mount were both running after the ball
yeah,
because
they
they
both
both think
press. They
like an
both
eight.
yes,
They
yes.
both think like an
Actually,
eight. None of them thinks like a six, and you could tell Bruno was told to be the six,
right.
right? But they both play like an eight. Um, yeah, okay, yeah, maybe if Mount was next to Baleba, but I still just don't see Mount there. I think he just expresses himself in the number 10.
But Mount does track back, and that's what I was trying to get with that point of like we gave up the goal because sorry for the kids, but you know, trigger warning, language alert, explicit stuff. But he's that cunt to go back onto the ball and mug you. That's why he got yellow cards at the end of last season with the aggression. But he can't go back and track a ball down.
There's just a difference, and for me, Mount when he's pressing on the front, that he's the best we have. He was
Right.
probably the best. I said this last
He's
time.
a press
Best.
monster.
He's a press monster for England for whoever. But I'm trying to think of a player I can. It's unfair. Baleba is like Caicedo or Declan Rice. Declan Rice is like a box to box. He can smell the danger and he knows like where to be physically. Positioning is great. Declan Rice gets caught out too, right? It's a really hard position to play. It's the hardest in terms of timing and positioning because yeah, it's just really hard. I don't know, but Mount,
We need somebody who's press
Bruno,
resist.
Mainu,
Mhm.
they don't have it. They don't have it, and they need someone to cover it. And yeah.
No, I totally agree. And then we can talk about transfer, what the team needs since we are 1 week from, we are filming this on Monday, the 25th. We have one more week till the window closes and hopefully we get what we need. But we could talk about that later on in the show. But we'll move on to the tactical board. There was some feedback about my tactical board skills. So we now have given it the duties to Ali here to run it, share it, and we can talk through it. But you know, as you're pulling it up, I think just to finish the thought about what we need, or if I'm, Ruben out, like I would just want to be very clear, like I was not Ten Hag out because I felt like he was not back properly, and we needed someone to see through that rebuild. You don't get that new regime. They want their own person. Fine, let it be. Feel like we need to go through the emotions with Ruben. And I feel like we do have a lot of deadwood that needs to be cleared. We need the right personnel because I do feel we're on par with every other top 16 on how they play. It's just personnel wise. In terms of setup, I see your reaction to that comment. I just like when we get to the whole inverting the center back item, I feel like, I watched a lot of the Spurs City game and how they're coming out of the back. And I feel like, what am I seeing other than compared to United, other than there's an extra midfielder instead of a center back. But we can get to that later.
I
I
think
know you have,
application is a big thing. Application is a big thing in the Prem. Like you can be tactically astute, um, but it's the application that's the biggest problem, and that's the difference between us and the other teams. Which is why everyone's either like, listen, Ruben, you need to adapt to. It's the first thing is adapt to the Prem, and it's play the right players with the right application in the right system.
right.
But yeah, um,
All right, so I'll turn it over to you now that we have the tactical board up. I could see it. So here we just have the starting lineups for both teams. That's some other feedback we took back in terms of having the other side to show you the full complete picture in terms of the tactical setup of us and how the opposition is defending us, or vice versa when the opposition has the ball and how we're setting up defensively. So what do you want to hit first in terms of
yeah. So the first thing I noticed was Cunha was below Mount and Mbeumo, right? Um, and yeah, this is like even when we were attacking. So when we were on, when the ball's like down here, I think like the first 10 minutes, you could see that Mount, Dorgu, Bruno, and Cunha were trapping. Okay, so Sesson were trapping Castagna. Castagna and Tete was kind of, you know, down here and Lukic. So there was four essentially against two. So this is our center forward. Cunha was dropping really deep. Um, and when we pressed within that like box of a four, it was
Hmm.
very effective. Mount was just getting the ball out. And the goal came from Mount and Dorgu playing this 1-2, right? And then Dorgu's just, continuing his run. Um, and that chance where Cunha's arriving late and he squares it. I think Cunha's in the box. He, hits the
Right.
post, right? And that's all because of Mount. And that's because of where we were with this box system. Lukic was just causing havoc in this channel. He was like, when they were pressing, like Lukic was up here. You had Munoz, King, Iwobi, and then Castagna was a bit deeper. And then you kind of have just Berg down here, right? Anderson, Bassi, Sessegnon, Tete. They had a back five. They had this back five, and then they had these four guys pressing. And
Yep.
then when they wanted to get more solidified, Lukic would drop in. But this Lukic's positioning was something, I was like, I didn't even know, you
You
know,
could do that.
he could do that at all. Which is kind of at where we're looking at these players, they're kind of adapting to these, unique systems where they kind of catch you off guard, right? Like you never imagine a, holding midfield player playing like right center mid, box to box. Um, so what I did like this box, Cunha dropping down, and then I think on the other side, so yeah, so Bruno and Cass, Bruno was definitely a lot more advanced in these positions. Mount would come in, Cunha would go back and forth, Dorgu providing the width. I think Abumo and Ahmad on this side were relatively quiet, you know. Um,
Especially in the first 35 minutes. Because there was the ball when it got whipped out to Ahmad where he was direct and caused Leno to make that save before
Right. Oh,
the
right. Like, yeah, when he was in the box. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, I just saw the right hand side was, just bit quieter than usual. I thought Euro was incredible that game. I thought he was a
especially
really
that when I think it was Munoz that had the clear
brutal.
going back and then he just came out of nowhere and made that tackle,
Yeah, yeah.
hit
And
the ball squared.
he was like spraying balls down.
Yeah,
So yeah, and yeah, I thought Euro had a good game, but I mean the biggest notice I saw was Cunha he was dropping deep. It was essentially a midfield three. That's how he was like playing like a center attacking mid. He wasn't even playing he wasn't even false nine at that point. He was really just helping out, and he was really trying to press.
right. And
So
then and then what also I thought I saw that was really good too was that when Bayern had the ball, right, when we were setting up to try to come out from the back, Ruben had pretty much a front four. So it was like Patrick Mount on the line and Buemo Ahmad on the line as well. And then he had Cunha as the free man roaming.
yeah,
Basically, if the ball were to either be kicked down go over the top by the goalkeeper, hit Cunha, he could make that twist pass to one of the outlets here, or yeah, to one of the outlets at either Case or Bruno to then pass it down to the four attacking players on the line, or he just gets it, turns around, and then hits it. I thought that was a very good um, tactic by Ruben to have the 3, 2, 1, and then 4 when we're coming out of the back when Benier had the ball. Because I felt like, you can get one of those balls in, and then what we've seen in preseason of getting into those spaces, having those guys jump for the ball, get it, have, headed to somebody, headed down to anybody who's there, to a Bruno or to a Case to make those 1-2 passes. I thought that was very good. We did not see it because I think that um, Fulham did a good job of blocking off those lanes and forcing some of the turnovers, like long kicks or like having them play out short. But I felt like that should be something that looks more promising going forward, of having this 3, 2, 1, 4. And it was also not Cunha because also Mount had dropped into that role sometimes the game. Um, and Bueno dropped into that role as well. And even there was one time when Bruno dropped in to that, where you had a little space and there was 4 attacking players in front. So you can get that ball down and then they can make their way towards the opposite end.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. Um, what I will say, the wing backs in the system, everybody knows, yeah, they're so crucial. And they really need to not only have a great touch for when, the ball inevitably comes out to them. They need to have a good touch, and then they need to know their second touch has to be a pass out, and they need to know if they're able to come inside this way to Bruno or to Mount. And it's the same thing with Ahmed, right? He needs to know if he can pass the ball to Cass or Mbumo. Like that chance, that first shot where Cunha hit the woodwork, it was Dorgu, controlled it,
Right.
1-2 straight with Mount, right? And it's really like the wing backs. Like the amount of times in the first 10 minutes we were getting caught. This was where Castagna was in the middle between Mount and Dorgu. Like
Mm-hmm.
we started so well because Dorgu was high and he was in between Tete, who's traditionally a right back, was getting
Right.
caught in this right center back position, right? And Castagna was getting caught in between here. And it was either like Delict, um, or 1-2s with Mount, and he was getting in.
And the switch of
And
play too. Sometimes they were going down where Case or
yes.
Ahmad would have the ball on that right hand side and then switch the play up and just
Yeah,
have him free, overload onto the left.
absolutely. With Ahmad, and I think Ahmad does know what to do. So you really have three options, right? It's all right. You touch first time into Cass, or take a touch and Boomo make a run down the line, cause some space like around here, right? Or take a touch, switch a play down here or to the other side, right? And it's just about finding out. Like if Iwobi's here, if Munoz is dropping in, King, if they're blocking off the lane, it's about making the right decision. Um, it is a little bit like robotic, um, just in terms of finding the right pathways. But, I think Ahmad's got a great first touch. I like him when Bruno's here because I think him and Bruno have got like a good understanding, right? It's like one touch. I actually think whatever side Bruno is on, we have a better understanding in. Um, I like Cass in this position where he can spray balls out here, but that's once we've kind of beaten this press, this four-man
Right.
press, right? That's when, when the
They
ball's out
ever,
here and these
yeah,
guys are all tucked in.
they all drop back
Yeah,
onto their side.
onto their side. And then,
You
Cass
have
has
the,
the ability to
yeah.
start spraying. Yeah.
So with that being said, when they had the ball, the corner kicks on itself is just like whole Jedi mind tricks, where we're just leaving that back post open. Like nobody's covering that. We say we could have won 3-1. They could have won like 3-1 as well, just
Yeah.
because of the back post is spinning. exposed. And then I think this is where I want to lead up to like that the goal that we essentially gave up. And I'm just gonna share my screen with the this one little picture from United Faithfuls on Twitter, where this is the setup of the goal for Fulham, where we can see we are in our shape of the five. So we have Patrick, Shaw, Delit, trying to make out the Euro. I was like, wait, who's that? Euro and Delo. So we're in our five. But then when you count the numbers of people, it's supposed to be like you look like it's like one for one. So just Dorhu Patrick has one person, Shaw has one person, Delit has his man. Then we have one Euro, Delo, Ugarte, and then we have Imbueno coming into the to the frame for two players. So I feel like we've always left this. This is something that I saw from last season of where we've always are in the back five, but then our midfielders are not tracking back and keeping up with the players, or that they're just mishandled somewhere that somehow the team has an extra attacker. And then this is the play where Smith Rowe walks past Bruno. It will be knocks the cross the ball in. And this is where Luke Shaw, where we were talking about like Luke Shaw needs to go, because Luke Shaw, instead of seeing the pass and anticipating it, he just still hugs with his man, watching him, thinking that he's going to get the back pass instead of coming out and covering and make a defense. Because I feel like in this position, if they were reversed, if Shaw and Delit were reversed, Delit will just cover the man, and probably that's not a goal. He'll make one of his like miraculous saves and knock the ball out, make a huge block. And I feel like this is the defensive liability that we're having, that where our midfielders are, well, in this case, Bruno, playing out of place, not tracking back his runner. But this goes back to like Ericsson, Case, anybody who plays in that number 8 role at in the 4-2-3-1 under Ten Hag. Nobody's tracking back, and it's bleeding into this time around with Bruno. And then again, fine, your midfielder lost the man. The next man up should be your center back. And then our center backs are tend to be sleeping on the match. It was quite funny that in my head, and I think I kind of jinxed it, I thought about a positive of like, hey, we're probably going to win this 1-0, and that this is the first time we have not given up a goal in open play compared to last season, where it's like every other day, it's like we're down 1-0 in like the 20 something minute. And then we have to play catch up for the rest of the game, which somehow made us better somehow. But that's not sustainable to, you know, building out your principles and winning games and being a true contender if you're going to have to keep chasing your games that you've done. We did that with Ali. I see on Twitter, everybody was like, oh, we want Ali, or like Ali's a PE teacher with his tactics. I mean, what tactics? There were no tactics. It's just about feelings and giving your players that motivation of like, trust yourself, believe in yourself, freaking Ted Lasso mentality of like, believe, you know how to play, but there were no tactics, right? There was no tactics with Ali. Ali was just like, yeah, do what you got to do. This
I,
is what
I,
we're going to do.
yeah, I mean, I think his most innovative tactic was having
Counterattack, counter press, like one
yeah,
touches and
was
then
like
stuff.
Romelu Lukaku playing as a cheating right winger.
Right,
So when he can counter, he's just coming off the right, flying into the center with that
right,
left foot banger.
right.
Um,
And that's why when the United fans are like, "Oh, we had a good manager with uh, um, Ollie," I'm like, he made us win games, right? He took us to what, 3 or 4 semifinals and one final, and we can never win it, right? That's not a good manager, because it's like I was with it. I was like, here, he got us into semifinals, right? We didn't get over the hump. Fine. Or at least we're building that culture of getting into semifinals, getting into winning mentality. Sure. We go in and we're not winning it. That's something. And then we challenge the league once under him. It's like the tactics are there. We're not going to win the big game with him. We could score nice goals, 3-1, 4-2, whatever it may be. We will win nice games. But when it's trying to get over that hump, we cannot do it. And that's just where, you know, the players here are deadwood from that regime still, and we still have them here. And it's like sometimes old habits are hard to break. And we're seeing this week in and week out with the defensive breakdowns between the center backs, midfields. Is it the system? Yes, I totally agree with the commentary that's out there that the system leaves us wide open, especially in this, what we talked about before, 5-2-3. There's too much space between our attacking in the midst and players and the opposition can come down to us, right? Last week we played the 4-4-2. We were a little bit more in that mid block. We were able to, suck the life out of Arsenal, whether that be intentional or not. That's a different story. But in terms of what we can control, what we can do is that our players need to do better in these situations. And I feel like these are old habits that are hard to break, and it's now coming into the personnel issue.
Yeah.
So that being said, this is the goal that we gave up.
Yeah, I just
Very
wanted
straight.
to I just wanted to show it on the
Yeah,
tactical
that's what I'm
board.
gonna have to give it back to you to the tactical board.
Yeah. Because what I noticed, and I went back, right? I went back and I noticed something in the build-up. And I was like, this is a problem, definite problem with the system. There was an incident on the other side that happened about maybe 20 minutes. It was on Shaw's side. So the goal, it was build up play from Fulham. These weren't the exact players. Munoz was so- what's the striker's name? The Mexican guy. I forgot his name. Um, yeah. So so the build up happened, essentially passing from Bassi to Sessegnon, and then I think it was Robinson actually, and then Robinson he just blasted the ball to the striker, and the striker took a great touch, and then I think laid it off to either Iwobi or Robinson, and then he span in, right? So Delict is coming with him. This is the key thing. Ruiz, is it Ruiz? The striker. So, um, you're on mute. Yeah.
There
So,
we go. Yeah, I think it
yeah.
was Munoz. And then
No, it was the other striker.
Jimenez.
Jimenez. Right. Okay, it was Jimenez. Okay, I'm gonna restart. Okay. So their goal came about, right? So, you know, playing that from the back, Bassi to Robinson. Robinson absolutely blasts it to Jimenez. Jimenez takes this, he takes a, good touch, takes the pressure off. Delict is right there with him, but he's not touch tight. He's a little bit
Right.
off him. And then the ball, I think it's Iwobi or Robinson, it gets touched back to Robinson. When it's getting touched back from Jimenez, he's spinning in, right? Euro's like out here. Shaw is there. Bruno, and I think it was either Bruno and Ugarte. Yeah, Ugarte's like caught, right? Ugarte's just doing nothing at this point. Jimenez has gone off, and once this ball is played to Berg, he's just squared it down here. And then Jimenez, he's running through. I think ends up getting blocked, and then they end up just like recycling the ball back to his left side. You have Iwobi and Robertson doing their thing, and then ball gets played in. Smith Rowe, walks past Bruno, but that build up was right before the goal. and everyone's positioning was, a bit off. But this spinning in when Delict comes in, and it's literally just a bounce pass. And when you spin in and that bounce pass is played, you're so exposed because where are your two center mids? Like if Delict is coming forward, whoever's holding, someone needs to be covering, right?
Right.
And you're caught between, do I go and press the
Right.
the bounce pass or do I go and cover?
Well, see, that's the thing though. That's where we were talking about last week, where they were fluid. Like if a center back's coming in to press into the top half of the line, or into the opposition's or to our attacking side, but when the opposition has the ball, somebody was going back to always make it a back three. And I think that that's where I talked about last week with regards to if we do a 3-1 and then whatever combination you want to do in the front, 4-2 or 3-1-6, whatever formation you want to do with the attacking, that center defensive mid that can come and just park in front of our center backs, spray the ball, defend you know, break up the play. That's what we lack. Case can do it 6 years ago, but he doesn't have legs to do it for the Premier League. And that's where we are getting screwed, where they're coming into press both the 6 and the 8 essentially, because this happened with Case, Bruno. Then we saw it with when it was Bruno and Mount to a degree. I don't think Ugarte came in and pressed and left some space open. I think he was a little bit more staying back into it. But the point being is that if someone's pressing in, somebody needs to fill that role, and I feel like that's not being done in the system. I think Ruben wants that from the players to come in. If they press, somebody comes back and takes that role to avoid that pass, or that the pass there, you either have the legs or somebody's coming up to break it up. And I feel like that's where that true natural number six comes in, where we need that help.
Yeah, I completely agree. And that was the build up to the goal. And that's how they kind of got up the pitch. And we spoke about, the comments made earlier about, it will be and the coach Silva. They're like, oh, it's so easy. You just gotta overload the midfield in between the spaces. So I saw it. I saw what was happening. And it was essentially they were creating this box in between Bruno. It was Bruno Nagate, Bruno Mount, whoever it was, and it was like whoever was replacing these guys, and they were just getting outnumbered. Like it was
Right.
this four out here, and this is where I'm thinking like they just weren't composed. Like when they got pressed, they're basically saying, look, our wing backs are going to be with your wing backs, right? If you can get out, you've got a 3 versus 1 situation here, right? And it just did not happen. Like these
Yeah.
guys were swarming these two, they were suffocating them. And Iwobi was having the time of his life. Like in
Hmm.
between Yoro and Ahmad, he was
And then
just
Deload at the end. Yeah.
and yeah, so and Dello, like he was just occupying the space, and then he's obviously going to cut inside and roam around. And then Smith Rowe, like again, he was just roaming around this side. Lukic was doing this all game. I definitely saw this side, and yeah, they pointed it out, and to point it out is a very confident thing. They're just like, yeah, the system is flawed, right? You know how can you counter that, right? When you're chasing, when it's 1-1, does Cunha come out? Do you then try and create a box? Like these are the things that the players need to adapt to when, especially now that two members of, the Fulham team were like, yeah, we were never worried. Like we knew what the flaw was. And it's about these players recognizing that on the pitch. And yeah, I understand it's demoralizing, getting, conceding.
Right.
But you got to keep your head And you got to understand and use what you use on the training ground. Because they would have gone through this 100%. They would have gone through a situation where they're going to create, the opposition is going to create a box and you got to come out of it. And there's for every problem, there's always a solution, right? You cut this completely, you play into space. This is where the space is. And Bumo, wouldn't have been Mount, this would have been Cunha, right?
Right.
And
Because
Desco, listen,
so that's what I was gonna bring up now because it was like when Sesko came on, they kind of went to a 3-4-3-1-4-2 to box him out because that's when the ball was going into Sesko, whether he's getting it from the over the top or to his feet, you had both Anderson and Bassi like coming in and mugging him, and it was shutting him down. That he only had to do is putting a like chip the ball back to either your wingers or your midfielders to cycle the ball out to go back again. And then there was one point where he was able to make the turn, but then he mishit it and Patrick couldn't control it, and then it went out for play.
yeah,
It was like
yeah,
a quick whip ball. I was like, I feel like that's like a little bit more of like
yeah,
understanding the Premier
like
League and
out
stuff.
here, yeah.
But I felt like Anderson and Bassi did a very good job of shutting him down when he came in to where the point of like, I sent it to you in the notes about like, is Sesko going to be Hoyland 2.0? He has the talent, like forget that, but he has the talent. There's some aspects of his game that are better than Hoyland, but is the system going to allow him to do that? Because I didn't know he played the game for most of it. Like, he was not getting in service. He was not going after end of balls. Because I think at the end of it, it was like we didn't get the possession how we did with Arsenal, where we imposed it. We only had one or two chances where we're playing from the back. The 6 and the 8 are getting into the action and able to pass it down to Cunha, who went out wide and try to get to the ball to Patrick and then try to go into it, but then Fulham blocked up all the lanes. I felt like nobody was getting service. So it's like I feel like we're going to run into the same issue of is Manchester United going to be the place where strikers die in this system? Because again, no service, nothing to really bite at. And I don't know what the solution is unless it's like you impose your will and just start, you know, doing the tight passes, one touch passes. But then I saw another comment on Twitter that, or formerly known as X, or formerly known as now X, um, that the system that Ruben has imposed is going to require those fancy passes. Like, for example, Mason Mount's pass to Cunha where he hit the post. Like, is that what we're going to need? Is that if that's what the system allows and that's what we're going to do, we're not going to be successful because there's not going to be too many opportunities, or unless we're ruthless and we have like great conversion where we can hit those shots and make it.
Yeah, no, I think the system is most effective when you have one touch passes around the corner. You have the free man, whoever it is, if you're playing a box, or you're playing these one touch passes. First, you need technical ability. You need confidence. Confidence is massive. Well, the second half we didn't really have it. Um, on Sesko, I think his press is really weak. It's really weak. Like he doesn't look like he's mentally ready to press. He's not.
That's
He
something
looks
you can't accuse Hoyland of not doing because he was a pressing monster.
right. Well, I didn't see it. Like, but here's the thing. At RB Leipzig, he pressed with a two. He had Openda. I don't know how to say his
Yes,
name.
I think
And
it's on
Openda was the focal point of their attack, right?
right.
Great player, rapid, both can press. He has to lead the press. He's the focal point, right? He has to lead the press. Um, and you could just tell he was confused, and he wasn't sprinting. I didn't really see him sprint. I can't eat like
Right. No,
everyone's
no, no.
talking about how quick he is. I couldn't really see that. I saw him at Arsenal. He went left to right a
Right.
couple of times. What I
I think
saw,
his quickness was that quick turn because he did make like a maybe a
yeah,
five
with
yard
Bruno, like
dash. Yeah.
he's got he yeah. So what I would say about what I saw from him is he's got good feet, right? He can control the ball. He was in a tight space down here. Took two defenders with him. Did like a shield it, a couple of quick touches, and then set Bruno, and Bruno was off, right? Um, but I'm just looking at his body language. He keeps turning his head. That to me is are we got like am I pressing? Like he looked a little bit confused, right? And that's because everybody else is tired, right? Everybody else is frustrated.
Game week two, match day two, we're retired.
Yeah,
Like,
no, we were tired.
no, no,
Delict.
no, no. I know that, but it's like this whole, Ruben gaslighted us to say we need to be physical, we need to be fit. He had them training in like 100-degree weather in Chicago when he was here for preseason. It's like, and they look fit in preseason. I do not know, and they were facing Premier League teams, like
Yeah,
teams.
the preseason. Okay, so they played well. That first half against West Ham. When they played Bournemouth, they played a bad Bournemouth. Like Bournemouth didn't have their players. Like the only player that
No,
they have really had was like Semenyo, right?
right,
The others weren't really in. So wasn't really worried about that. And then they came against struggles with it was Everton,
Everton.
right? They came
Mhm.
against some struggles there. Like yes, we looked sharper, but like our entry level for sharp is quite low, I feel. Like I'm
Yeah,
not saying it's a bad thing that they look tired. It's a natural thing that they look tired, but that's just what I saw. And
no, and
again,
that,
we're match week two, it's fine.
no, no, and that's a fair point, but it goes into along the lines of two things from our two signings, right? From Cunha and Buemo. They overperformed on XG last season, right? I think Cunha was only supposed to score 8 or 9 goals, and I think Bueno was supposed to score 7 or 8, but then he scored 20 and Cunha scored 15. So it's like, is that playing into it as well? Like they just over exceeded their XG last season and it gaslighted us that he can score. I think I'm gonna give them the benefit of the doubt. It's only two, match day two. They're still getting used to the team. And Bueno didn't get like a full preseason with us. He missed like 3 weeks of it, 2, 3 weeks of it. So he's still trying to get in their fitness. That's why I think Cunha looks a little bit more sharper than him, to be fair.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
So I think all that will work out. But the second point that I wanted to make about this was that there have been rumors, and I've seen it on Twitter as well, that the front three in this game did not press at all. They were just letting it off and not pressing at all. But then now that comes down to the question of can Sesko, Cunha, and Bueno press and be effective? Because essentially everybody wants to do Klopp and Pep's, pressing style of everyone comes up and press, turnover,
yeah.
hit them on a quick goal, right? We've seen it work effectively among those teams. I think that's where quote unquote modern football is right now. And I feel like that's what Ruben has done um, at Sporting and was trying to do that here. But then to be fair, Ten Hag wanted to do that as well, but nobody wanted to commit to the press. So I think that if we go back to that 4-4-2 box and have Sesko alongside Mount, I think the press can be very effective. And then if you cause the ball to go out to our wingers, I think the wingers can press effectively. Ahmad can press effectively.
Yeah.
Patrick can press effectively. And then you can have your 6 and the 8 or one of the attacking mids to be close enough to them so when they turn over the ball, it could either be, one touch pass back to the winger, or you're just coming back in and handing it off to your striker or to the other, attacking player at the side, or switch it up and go to the opposite side as well. So I feel like those are the gaps that we're lacking and I think it'll come throughout time. I think like, you know, I've always said this with Manchester United, especially recent years. I hate international play, especially so soon. I think it's stupid and should get rid of it. Let everyone play with it like March or whatever or end of the season. Because I feel like it's just like we play 4 games, stop. Then I think we're gonna play another 4 to 5 games, depending if we make it to the next round of the Carabao Cup, and then you're gonna stop again, right? Then
Yeah,
you're gonna play another game, another 5, 6 games for November, and then after November you go on.
yeah,
So I always felt like we should always like struggle a little bit, like have like a one in those games. It's fine to lose 1 game, right? And or draw up to you get to the point of after November's international break, you go from there till March of where you're playing almost, well, this case once a week because of no Euro, but especially during Christmas time when it's like every 3, 4 days of games that you can go hit and you go on a roll that you can be fine at the end of the season. And I feel like that's what we need to set up our minds. I wish the rest of the United fans out there on Twitter can get with that program that it's going to be a struggle until you find a rhythm.
yeah. No, I completely agree. It's gonna be a struggle. I think the good thing about the international break is it allows players probably like Sesko to get some minutes into his legs, right?
That's fair.
And I think you always kind of measure yourself in between because I think the October one is a bit too fast. Between October and November, like you you got to do well, and then November is really when the season is like non-stop, right? The first international break, you kind of like I think in Saka's case, he's injured, right? He's not going to miss that many games because there's an international break. I think he's still going to miss like 3 or 4.
Right.
But if there's no international break, he misses like 6.
It's only,
Um,
yeah, because it's 2 extra games. Yeah.
yeah, so.
Give or
Yeah,
take.
it's I mean the international break it is what it is, but I also think like some of these players just need minutes in their legs. They're looking tired. Um, and that's just, it is just game week 2. Look, Zasco, I've not even really seen him take a real shot, right? It's not been, fed
No
the ball,
service.
you know.
Other
Um,
than a header, like a powerful header,
yeah,
then last week on a corner or like a cross, like other than that, he made something out of nothing, and it was a decent save by Rhea, but it's like we haven't seen the true potential, and that's where it's like, is that going to be a lingering case of is this Hoyland 2.0?
Yeah, no, I don't think I think Highland 2.0 I think it's yeah, we'll have to wait and see, but I think
Right.
Sesko's stature is just different, right? Like he's a big guy. I just want him to be a mentality monster, right? The only thing is he's 22. Really hard to be like that at 22. He says his like idol is like Zlatan. Like he needs to take on that mentality monster mindset. Um,
He
like
needs to be a
Haaland has
goat.
it. Like
He
like
needs to be
Haaland is he's just gonna bulldoze like any defender, and he's like I will score every time. Like Sesko from what I'm seeing right now, and a couple of things I've heard from the Athletic is that apparently he's like a bit sensitive to like comments and things like that. Like he's gonna get that United, right? He needs
to
the
grow a
way.
pair.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I'm not saying he's not, right? I've just not seen it right now. But he's 22 years old, right? We have been like hammering Hoyland. He was really young. Um, Hoyland's got a decent, shot on him. He can kind of shoot off both feet. In another
Mhm.
league, he's gonna do well. If he goes
Right.
to Napoli, he will do well. Um, it's a different pace. He's got great attributes, but I think, yeah, I've just not seen, much of Sesko as of yet. And the only concerning thing about that is this game, I think he came on like 55th minute.
Yeah,
or
50,
maybe
yeah, 53rd or so, something like that.
yeah. So it's like dude almost had like a whole half. That's
Right.
how ineffective we were. I mean, I know
Giving
we
him
scored a
service.
goal like that goal we scored was, and Mbumo's quality that was a quality ball and a quality, in a good area. Euro it wasn't going in, and then until it did. Um, but it's just, you know, just bits and bobs at this point. That front three, it's definitely an improvement from last year, but that's how bad last year was.
Right.
Like that bad. Um, and yeah, I think, you know. We just got to wait and see with Sesko. I don't think he. I mean, we'll talk about Burnley later, but yeah, he just doesn't look sharp and
Well,
fit just yet.
that's why I said, well, before Burnley, we do have the Carabao Cup against Grimsley
Right.
Town on Wednesday. So we have that.
Yeah.
So, Ollie and I, we were talking before we came on, and we were just like, what should we talk about with that? And I pretty much said it should be the Sesko up top, Cunha and Buemo, and then your two wingers, Ahmad, Patrick. And if you want to play Bruno, play Bruno. But then Ugarte has to play. All the center backs have to take a break and rotate because I think you can play. Wait, who can? It's only just Heaven
Heaven can play.
and
Maguire
Maguire
can
can
play.
play. And if you want to, you can throw
Mazraoui.
Mazraoui still hurt.
Oh,
But
he's
if
still
you,
hurt.
yeah, but if you want to put Fredrickson on,
Yeah.
or you keep Euro, like Euro, one of them on, like Euro can play both on the left and the right center back. Like he has no
I would want to
problem.
protect Euro personally. I think
He's 19.
he's 19. I think you play short just to get him a bit
No,
fit.
we can't play Shaw. No, no, forget Shaw. They
You
would be
also need
like,
a leader. You also need like a
we
more
have
senior
Bruno on the
player.
pitch at the same time.
No, no, no. So I wouldn't play Bruno. I would play Mainu. Mainu has to play this game. If Mainu doesn't play this game, there is going to be outrage, right? There's outrage that like he needs to start in one of the tens or he needs to play I think he needs to play that centre mid for Bruno role.
I
I
don't
wouldn't
know.
play Bruno. I play
I
Mainu.
think I think you play Bruno so you can keep the continuality. Unless he's like they're really thinking about going to Saudi Arabia, then
I
let it be. But
would you wouldn't pick Mainu in the starting 11 against Grimsby Town?
so in an ideal world, yes. But if I'm talking about continuality and trying to get our players fit and into the system, I need to play the players that we bought in and the main players so they can get a good feel me good game.
I see.
Where we could like, you score your 4 goals or in stuff, you feel good about what you do because you're facing what I think they're second in the championship or league something, where you can build, flat track
Yeah.
bully. You get
I
your confidence up from the flat track.
I don't think Bruno needs that. I don't think Bruno needs an ego boost against Grimsby Town. I think Mainu needs minutes in his legs. And
That's true.
if because where else is he getting minutes? Like he should have come on against Fulham. I don't. Why you? Okay, I understand you're bringing Ugarte in because we were looking so open because
Right, because
Mount
of
and
the
Bruno were both
right.
eight. But like you can't like just tell Bruno to like sit deeper and let Menu go forward, right? Menu, he's also a very clinical and efficient goal scorer. Like he finds, like, if I use him as cast, he finds these spaces, especially on the left-hand side, and he's got a great curl on him. He's done it against pressure. He's done it
Liverpool
against
knows
top
that
opposition.
well.
Liverpool, City, Wolves, they all know that well.
Yeah.
Um, and it's just. I'm getting frustrated over the fact that I'm not seeing this,
Well, and
academy
this,
player being played.
yeah, and actually, I think that this was like the first time we didn't have an academy player in the starting 11 or like didn't even come off the game. Like we still keep the record of because he was still on the bench. But this is like one of the first times in my recent memory where we didn't have anyone from the academy playing. Everyone else has been bought in.
No, I think that's happened before. That's happened. It's the record is we've always had an
Right. The record
academy
is
player on in the squad, right?
right,
Like,
right.
yeah. It's
In
not
this,
starting. It's
yeah,
not
and I
starting
think
right.
that's not starting. I know
Or
that's not
subbing
the
on.
record. Yeah, subbing on. No, but I'm talking about like in my mind, I can't recall when was the last time we didn't have academy player.
I'll
Um,
be honest, our academy is just not. It's not. Our academy is not it. Like, our academy is
right,
not.
right. That's a
You
different
know,
story for
I'm
a
very
different day.
envious of Arsenal. Arsenal are producing quality players, and they've got their back four, back six, whatever set, so they can add these players in. Um, but Manu is like he played for England, like in like high level games in a three, and
Well,
this
we
is
don't
where the
play a three.
arguments
That's the
come in:
thing,
is do
though.
we not play a three? But like he was holding, he got picked over Adam Morton, right? Like. I get Adam Wharton would improve this team massively too. Um, so it's just play him in that Bruno role, give Bruno a break.
That's
He
fair.
was we didn't even talk about his penalty.
We
What
don't
he
need
said
to. We don't need
he
to. We're not
tweeted
going
about the
down that.
referee. I think I he's
That's
just
not tactical. That's just him bitching and moaning as always as a
yeah,
captain.
it is. The goal, yeah, I just think Manu needs to start. I think he will start. And then I would play Sesko, see what he's like. Yeah,
Yeah.
those are my two, and I'll play Ugarte. Um, I would play
Heaven,
Evan. Heaven will have to
Maguire.
play in that left.
Right.
So and then Maguire, and then I would play Delict instead of Euro. I just want to protect Euro.
But the
Um,
lid too needs to be protected because he's not like he's young or well, he is young, but he's like still injury prone because he always like throws his body out
I
there
think
and stretches
Maguire
out.
does a better. I think we got more depth as centre back than we do a right centre back because our right centre back alternative is Mazraoui.
Yeah,
Oh, Euro is really, he's really we have the best depth on the left, which I don't understand why Shaw is playing. Uh, and then I would play would I play Dorgu? I want to see Diego Leon. I'd like to see him play.
that's
Um,
true. That's fine.
yeah.
You know who's a player that we don't mention, and I know he was hurt? Xerxes. You know what? I think Xerxes coming if we I don't know, but who would we take out? I mean, I know we did put on two Maguire and Heaven came on instead of like Xerxes and Kobe. But like I think Xerxes would have been good for this game where he could have dropped down in one of the tens, played that deep lying forward position, and just spray the ball out where we could have made have scored a goal. And I think he's injured, that's why he hasn't played. But I still think he could do like a 10, 15-minute cameo as he builds up his strength because the rumor is he was twerking so hard on that girl in I don't know what Caribbean country, and he tweaked his hammy there.
Wow. It's
For the
the
culture, though.
yeah for the culture.
Xerxes is a badass for the culture.
I mean, he's really won over, the United fan base. He's someone like yeah, he's taken a little while just to adapt, and then you saw his quality. Saliba saw his quality. Um, he's got a good range of pass on him. He's got a great touch. He can find, the back of the net. He's not a clean finisher like Mbumo. Like once Mbumo is sharp, I need to see some clean strikes from him. Um, and I think it's between him and Sesko who's the best finisher at the club. Cunha kind of gives Bruno vibes like he would score like an absolutely outrageous curler or something like that. But yeah, I think Xerxes in this system would have to play as a 10. But also we saw Cunha, like we touched on it. Cunha plays as this false like attacking mid
Right.
nine. Yeah, I can definitely see Xerxes playing that. Just give Sesko
That
some more
space.
time, yeah,
But
to
also to when they could both play at top and then give him that space so he can make that run. Let's see that speed demon that he says that the scouts and everyone said he is.
yeah, yeah, because I haven't seen it. as of yet. So yeah, we've got it is refreshing to, realize that we've got this new striker we haven't really seen unleashed. And yeah, we're just waiting for that the top end of the pitch just to get sharper because I think it's this area. This area right here is where we struggle so much, right? It's like it's Ahmad, Dorgu, and then all the players in between. We just really struggle here. And I look at other teams, they just look confident in that final third. And we still look like we're figuring things out. And that's okay. We've got a brand new forward line. That's only natural.
Right. That's natural. They're gonna find their rhythm. They're gonna find their space.
Yeah.
I think that we just need, I don't want to say better personnel. I just think that they need to break down the lines more. They need to overload. They need to collapse onto the box. Because I feel like I said last week, when Double made that run, nobody's in the box.
Yeah.
Same as well. It's like you have to crash in where you have guys, they could do the overlap. Somebody could pick the pass out at the top of the box and sink it in.
Yeah. And this play style completely changes with Sesko. I don't see Sesko dropping in here. So
No,
he'll stay up here, right? And then the game plan completely changes, right?
right,
Then your midfielders are gonna get massively exposed. You're gonna have to have these guys in, tuck in a lot more,
right.
right? Because and then I think Mount is I can't believe I'm saying this, he's very precious to this formation because I don't see and Mbumo has no defensive real abilities. I know he can play right wing back, but Mount we really just need to help these guys out because they're just getting exposed at this point. Yeah, I
Yeah,
wanna
no,
yeah, we need to see how that works when Sesko comes in. And obviously Cunha and Mount are probably going to be playing that same position. I trust Cunha to do a similar role to Mount. I think, off the ball and like tenacity, they kind of both have it. I think Mount
right.
is just has just done it for longer and is our most effective presser.
And he's been in the Premier League since God knows when, or playing English football since he was born.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, this the play style completely changes when Sesko's in the team. Um, and they also have a target man. That's the other thing. If Leacher comes in, he can like hit that,
Right.
delict, he's gonna be
We have the
hopefully,
passers. Yeah.
yeah, um, got, Leacher to come in, um, yeah, it's not all doom and gloom. It's just
No, it's not.
frustrating. It's
It's
just
not. It's
frustrating.
week. It's match day two. Like, let's be real,
Yeah.
everyone. We can. You don't win the league in August. You can definitely lose it in August, but I don't think that's the expectations there. We still have plenty games to go where our fate can be decided.
Yeah. Well, yeah,
And
I
we
think
still have 1 week left in the transfer window. We have, from whatever we've read, two positions that we're looking at, a midfield and a goalkeeper. But I think we do need an two more midfielders. So two midfielders and a goalkeeper. That's on my wish list.
yeah, the corner situation was so bad. Like by in there, the defenders they just kept getting bullied and bullied and bullied.
Right.
And there's just like a sense of anxiety between these guys every time that corner kick comes in and it doesn't bode well at all, right? And that doesn't change when Onana's in there. Binder is, he's the more physically, you know, he has more physical prowess than Onana. He has more physical presence, but he's not using it, right? He's like, what he said, like it's like apparently Donnarumma's like that. It's like he's tall, not big, right?
Right.
I heard from like on the Athletic, right? So it's just like we need to start being more imposing. And what we're kind of seeing is the lack of a Harry Maguire. You don't have that aerial presence. Like Harry Maguire heads everything out of the box. It's actually insane. Um,
Well, that's why I was always saying like Shaw should be dropped, put Euro on the right, put and then you put
Delict on the right, you're on the
Yeah,
left,
left.
Harry. Yeah, I
Yeah,
would prefer that. I think right
everything is
now,
solved right there.
we need to see that. And when you swap out Shaw and Harry, like your height increases. Sesko coming in, you take off Mount. I cannot believe I'm saying that. Like Mount coming off is like a big deal, right? Because I just automatically thought Cunha and Bumo, Sesko, but Mount is so valuable in this system.
Well,
Um,
yeah, and then that's what it's like. If Deload or Ahmad is not producing on the right wing back, do you put in Mbuemo there? And then you have your Mount, Cunha, Sesko on top. I
I can see Mbumo. I think if we're chasing the game, I can see him going for an Ahmad.
Right. Because I think Mount deserves to start. He's not going to finish the game because they're just going to be
No,
extra careful with him and his injuries
yeah.
that he's probably going to be, I think they're trying to build him up to about 75 minutes. And once he hits 75 minutes, you're off.
Yeah, yeah, and with five subs, that's totally
Right.
understandable. Um,
But he's
yeah,
undroppable right now in this
he
system.
is, and I cannot believe I'm saying that because I honestly like I just didn't see why Ten Hag bought him. But in this
Poor
system,
person's F Frankie Dijon.
frankly, he's not like it. I don't get where I really don't get the comparison. It's so different a play. If we had Frankie De Jong in this team, half our problems are solved. He's a ball playing number six that is a little bit mobile. Like he can, yeah, and he
Yeah.
can he can dictate the game as well. So
Yeah.
yeah, if we had him like that, Mount, with that Mount further up, he can pass him the ball, no problem. Um, but
Be over
yeah,
for these hoes.
I think we're linked with that keeper from Anderlecht. I don't,
Lemes.
I really.
To be fair, Belgium goalkeepers are pretty good from history, except when they go for Chelsea.
I I just don't. I would rather see a center mid than a goalkeeper, honestly.
No, I
Uh,
totally agree. No, I
I
totally agree.
don't. We're,
No,
we're
I
17 million. Okay, 17 million is a good deal
right.
for a young keeper. Um,
But I think that yeah, no.
Bayindir's got to go. Someone's
No,
got to
no,
go.
no. Onana should go. I think Bayern is a good number two. I think
Right.
I think they're trying to be ruthless with Onana by doing the Holland thing about like you're on the bench or like you have to go. Like I feel like he could be gone. Like if we do sign Lemez or Lemez, whatever how you pronounce it, someone has to go, and I think it will be Onana because I also think that Onana can come up with a bigger fee. I think it might still be a loss on PSR, but I think he gets a bigger
Yeah,
fee,
I don't know
and
how much he'd go for, but yeah,
maybe
you're
like
right. I
20,
do agree.
25, 30, maybe with add-ons or like
Dollars or
total
pounds?
package.
Oh, euros. Um. Oh God.
Quid. We're
Yeah.
gonna go quid.
Good. Yeah.
Keep it for the culture and
Yeah.
for the currency.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think,
No,
yeah,
no,
you're
no.
right. Bayindir can stay as a number two.
But I think we need two mids. I think you get Carlos Baba. Last week when we were actually filming, there was rumors that were breaking out. Would you take Camavinga for 66 million pounds?
Baller. I would take him.
But you see, this is the thing though. We keep getting burned by buying players from Bayern, Halal Madrid,
We haven't got De Ligt and Mazraoui are two good signings. Madrid, I get. Madrid, like Casemiro had one good season. Di Maria had three good games. Um,
it died after Leicester.
right, yeah. So I would take Camavinga. I don't. There's no way. Why would Madrid sell Camavinga?
Because he
Like
doesn't fit into the system. What's his name? Took
four
him
three
out.
Alonso's?
Yeah.
No, I haven't seen that system.
So Alonso did play 3-4-3 in preseason, but I think now he's
Well, he's got Rodrigo
fluid.
as well doing
He's
nothing.
fluid enough that he turned to a 4-3-3 or 4-2-3. But it's the other defender, Tukameli, who's taking over it. I prefer him, but
Who
I know
you
that
mean?
Madrid's
Oh,
on.
Xiaomeni.
Yeah, Xiaomeni, sorry.
Oh, you prefer Xiao? See, I prefer Camavinga. I prefer Camavinga. I think Camavinga is you can play him. He's just a baller. You just play him
Right.
anywhere
No,
on the
he's a
pitch.
baller. I think, yes, he's a baller. He can do, he can play left back, right
Plus,
back,
he's
goalkeeper.
left-footed.
Yes, I know. He was Carlos like baby. I get it. I understand it. And he's still young enough that, yes, if you give me truth serum, I will take him. But I personally rate the
Tchouaméni more. That's
Chaman,
right.
yeah,
I think
because
Tchouaméni is good.
I feel like Chalmany could be that one, that three, that in the 3-1-4-2, whatever. He's that one. Could go from
Yeah.
side to side, break up the play, go for it.
Right.
Camavinga can do it, right? But it feels like it's unnatural to him. It's
Yeah. No, he's
like
more
I said,
box to box. He's
yeah,
more box to
I
box.
see, yeah, and I feel like we're just overloading on the eight right there. We just need a
Yeah.
proper
No.
six because I feel like Chalmany
Yeah.
is like Casemiro, Matic, you know, character degree with essentially character. He's skinny, like
I think he's probably closest to Carrick. I think yeah, that's what I've seen
yeah,
of him. I think he's very
right,
tidy. He's got a
right.
decent shot. But yeah, I'm still taking Camavinga. I completely understand. Yeah, your take. Like, but Xiao like he's never he's
Right.
not
I'm Madrid's not going to give him up because he's
no.
playing.
But I would have Carlos Baleba over Xiao.
Right.
That's just my I've seen him. Carlos Baleba is he's so mobile. I'm just like wow. He kind of reminds me of a taller. I don't want to say it because Kante is just incredible. Kante changed the game for me. Like I'm just like, how are you doing this? But he's kind of like a taller Kante. Um, yeah, I'm really worried that somebody else is gonna come in for him next summer. Like we almost need him to. Also, we almost need to agree, Brighton, like 100 million next summer. You give him to us, right?
No, I totally agree.
That
Yeah,
we need him in the
we do
squad.
need, yeah, especially if we get European football, where there are going to be more games where we got two number sixes and two number eights that you can do it.
Yeah, I would love him in the team. Ah, man, imagine if Menu just like oh man, if he just like grew the attributes, man. Him and Menu dominating that midfield.
Yeah.
Oh,
Uh,
yeah.
mm, so yeah, I think that's what we need to hope for, that Ineos can do it and get it over with and done, and we can you know, be get some put some respect on our name and try not to live out these banter errors.
I so what I will say about um drawing on Sunday, I think it's I think those United fans that were getting like, oh, eighth would be great. I think those fans that were getting like a bit of stick, they're now kind of looking at everyone else like, you see what I'm saying? Right? I think eighth for Man United, as awful as it sounds, I just think that is kind of like that's the level we're playing at. We're playing at like a top-ish table team. Yeah, against Arsenal, we played great, but it's you got to play away from home like that. We haven't
Right.
seen the players at full sharpness. The only caveat about that is I was talking with a friend yesterday. And he was like, United they could sneak sixth, fifth. This was before so we hadn't seen the Fulham game.
Right.
So our only perception was Arsenal. And you're just thinking, okay, Newcastle looked good today against Liverpool, right? They were a man down. They still lost. That kid from Liverpool scored a great
Yeah.
goal.
Because nobody was covering him. It was
Covering,
wide open.
but Sober's like, wow, that's great. I'm interested to see if does that go to Salah assist or a Sober's assist. I'm interested to see. Um, just for the stat padding. But yeah, so I think who's going to take that fifth spot, right? Because you got Arsenal, Liverpool, City, Chelsea, top four, Newcastle in the Champions League, Aston Villa in Europe. Um,
No, they're not in Europe. They didn't make it.
Aston Villa in Europe. Yeah,
No, they
yeah,
got
they
kicked.
are.
They lost to us and they got kicked out. They didn't make it.
I thought
So
they got
who's
knocked out of the Champions League. No,
yeah? They're gonna
they're
no, no,
in
no.
Europa.
So it's no. It's
Newcastle in champs.
Newcastle's are in champs. Tottenham is in Champions League.
Oh, it's Tottenham. That's it.
Nottingham Forest is in Europa.
Oh, right.
And then Crystal Palace is in conference.
Oh,
Because
Villa didn't get anything?
no, because
Okay.
they lost the last game to us. If they have won the last game, I
Oh,
think they would have
yeah.
been
Because they scored that goal, right?
right.
Wow.
It would have been, I think, Forest out and them in.
Okay, well then that changes my. Well then I think Villa will get fifth. I think Villa get fifth over us.
But they
That's
haven't spent anything.
no, but like their look at their goalkeeper is solid. If he doesn't
They want to sell him.
if he doesn't come here, I like their back four. They got Watkins up front. They got
We should have
decent
gotten
midfield
Watkins.
players. You wanted Watkins?
Yeah.
I didn't want Watkins, you know. I didn't want him.
Now we get stuck with a 22-year-old who's
We don't
has
know his
speed.
potential. Plus, he's 6'5". Like, we need height. We need height. Like, you've seen us at set pieces.
What are we doing? What is this? Like Peter Crouch? Like we try and reincarnate Peter Crouch? Should I go get the freaking meme of like
Peter Crouch
the
wasn't quick. Peter Crouch wasn't quick, right? Sesko's quick. He's got pace. He offers you counter-attacking threat. Apparently, he can press. Um,
to
I
be determined?
we need height defending set pieces because we're so bad at defending set pieces. Watkins, I would have taken him for 20 mil,
Yes, I know.
25. Like
Villa has
he's
been like, uh,
60 was
yeah, it's
ridiculous,
like for
right?
30-year-old, like calm down, like
Yeah.
calm down.
Um, yeah, and yeah, so I just think Villa, Tielemans, great, midfielder. I think Villa get fifth. Yeah, so they're not in Europe, they're getting fifth. So then that sixth place kind of comes up for grabs, depending on how well these other teams.
Or we could always do another cup final and see what happens.
Cup final, no, I think our cup final days are over, man.
No, I think we can make a cup run this year. I think this the team always feels like it's a cup team. It's just that
I don't see it. I don't see that, man.
I feel like they could turn it up.
I'm looking at all these teams, and I'm in awe at how good they are. Like they're stacked, man. They're getting stacked, and we're trying to get trim. We're trying to go back to the basics. One game a week. Um, Thomas Frank is a great manager. Okay, it's just 2 games, but he's like sorted out that defense, right? Kudos can do his magic. He's got, Solanke to come in. No,
Oh
the
yeah,
Prem is
yeah.
looking tough, man.
Oh well, we were kind of running out of time, but we're gonna do this next week when we talk about either the Grimley Match League Cup review, or we might combine it with Burnley at home or away. I forgot now. But Burnley this Saturday, we either gonna drop one episode after the League Cup game, or combine it to one episode for both games with our review. But basically, um, our style and inverting the center backs and how this is modern football. We're gonna leave that as a cliffhanger because there was a lot of heat over this weekend with regards to the City game against Tottenham, where they all are doing. They're not inverting their center backs. They are playing two center backs wide of the goalkeeper and two midfielders in front of the goalkeeper and trying to play from the back. And we did the same thing, except one of the midfielders in front of the goalkeeper is a center back and playing out of the back. A lot of tactical pages have called out Ruben for being too predictable and being like, we can't do it. It's going to become predictable. You can just press the center back or press the defensive mid to cause a turnover, and that's why it won't work. But then at the Spurs game, Spurs pressed the defensive midfielder Nico from City, turnover, scored a goal. And then on the flip side, Spurs were trying to play out of the back, where the goalkeeper kicked it to what is this? What's it? Mickey Van
Van de Ven.
Yeah, Van de Ven. And then he got pressed by Holland, and then they almost turned it over for a goal. But that's on next week's episode. We'll talk about this inverting the center backs. But Ali, it was a pleasure. Do you have anything else you want to say to the people before we end this?
Yes. Aston Villa are playing in the Europa League.
Oh, they are.
Yeah.
Dun dun dun.
So
Wait,
listen,
how? How? I thought they were not.
because they were competing for, I'm pretty sure they were competing for Champions League, but they are
Oh, so
playing
then
with
you know what
Nottingham
it was
Forest.
that? That was it.
They got knocked
They,
down.
yeah, they
Yeah.
were playing for Champions League. They didn't get Champions League, so now that's it. So I'm sorry, I'm wrong.
Yeah, yeah. So
That was it.
listen, we're getting fifth. No, so that just opens up fifth. But like, listen, well, it's a long season ahead. Yeah. Look, United fans.
Growing
Yeah,
pains right
United
now.
fans. I said, we might finish eighth. I see the vision.
Relegated.
I see. Yeah. Now you can get it right. It's going to be a long season. But we're here to break
Break
it
it all
down.
down.
Yeah. And
All right,
hopefully,
well,
yeah, we'll see what it's like against Burnley. Have to get the 3 points. Like it's not. There's no excuse at this point.
we need 3 points. We need a win in the Carabao Cup. We need some confidence, and
Yeah.
then we need some transfers in. As of right now, it looks like it's two, but we're hoping for three or more.
Yeah.
And all
Yeah.
and the bomb squad, like get the
They'll
fuck out
they'll
of
they'll all be gone.
bomb squad, get the fuck out of our club.
Yeah. Ruining our club.
Seriously. All right, well, if you guys like this episode, let us know. Drop a comment, hit the subscribe, pound the like, all that whatever young kids say these days when it comes down to the internet stuff. All right, everyone, take it easy.